The Las Vegas skyline glowed like a fever dream, its neon pulse drawing dreamers and hustlers alike. Inside the opulent Sapphire Palace, a fictional luxury venue at the heart of the Strip, the Punches for Patriots charity boxing gala was in full swing. The event, raising funds for a veterans recovery fund, packed the grand ballroom with a glitzy crowd, movie stars, tech moguls, and Vegas bigwigs, all dressed to the nines. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the temporary boxing ring, where rising welterweight stars traded blows in exhibition matches. But the night's real magnet was the VIP guest in the front row, Jason Statham, the action movie legend whose mere presence screamed grit and steel. At 45, Jason was a global icon, his lean, muscular frame and piercing gaze as commanding in person as on screen. He wasn't there to fight, he'd been invited as the event's ambassador, his reputation for tough guy roles and real-world martial arts mastery making him a perfect fit. In a tailored black suit, he sat low-key, applauding the fighters, posing for selfies with fans, and sharing quiet words with veterans who'd been honored with prime seats. His grounded vibe stood out in a sea of flash, but his aura, calm yet lethal, hinted at a man who'd walked the walk. Jason had trained for years in kickboxing, grappling, and more, not for fame but for discipline. Tonight, he was just here to support the cause. The main event showcased Jaden "Blaze" Carter, a 25-year-old prodigy from Detroit with a 15-0 record, all knockouts. Jaden was a force of nature, his left hook a sledgehammer that had just sent his opponent, a scrappy Boston fighter, to the canvas in round 2. The crowd of 5,000 erupted as Jaden prowled the ring, basking in the spotlight. His entrance had been pure theater, fireworks, a custom hip-hop beat, and a silk robe emblazoned with "Blaze" in silver. Cocky and charismatic, he was the night's golden boy, already hyped as a future champ by sports blogs. His grin was infectious, but his arrogance was a live wire. As the ring announcer handed Jaden the mic for his victory speech, his ego took the wheel. He started with the usual flex, thanking his team, hyping his next fight, but then his gaze zeroed in on Jason, front and center. A mischievous smirk curled his lips. Hold up, Jaden said, pointing at the VIP. "We got the action movie king right here. Yo, man, you're tough on the big screen, but this ain't a soundstage. Step in this ring, I'd light you up faster than a stunt double." The crowd exploded, some laughing, others cheering the audacity. Jaden leaned into it, playing to the cameras. "Stick to fake punches, bro, real fists. That's Blaze territory." The ballroom buzzed, all eyes on Jason. The MC scrambled to move on, but Jaden's taunts hung in the air like smoke. Most expected Jason to shrug it off, he was a guest, not a competitor. But those close enough saw the glint in his eyes, a spark of controlled fire. He didn't react, just gave a slight nod, his jaw tightening as he leaned back. Inside, though, Jaden's words hit a nerve. Jason had sparred with pros, taken hits, and never shied from a challenge. This wasn't just trash talk, it was a dare. And Jason Statham didn't back down. Backstage, the promoter, a cunning Vegas showman named Marco Vance, saw dollar signs. Jaden's jab had electrified the room, and Jason's star power could turn it into a viral moment. He caught Jason during a break, pitching a bold move, a one-round, no-decision sparring session to cap the night. "It's for the vets, Jason," Marco said, his grin all business. "Just a bit of fun, give the fans a thrill. Kid won't go hard on a VIP." Jason's eyes narrowed, his voice a low growl. "He crossed a line, Marco. If I get in there, I'm not pretending." Marco chuckled, mistaking it for bravado, and hustled to make it happen, visions of headlines dancing in his head. Jaden, still high on his win, was all in when Marco pitched the idea. "Movie guy wants to box. I'll give him a lesson," he bragged to his crew, already picturing the social media clout. His trainer, a weathered Detroit coach named Coach Harris, wasn't thrilled. Boy, Statham's no pushover. I've seen him move. Don't play yourself. Jaden rolled his eyes, laughing. Chill, coach. I'll tap him and pose for the gram. The crowd went wild when the MC announced the surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, for one round only, a special sparring exhibition. Our VIP guest, Jason Statham, will face off with Jaden Blaze Carter. The cheers shook the chandeliers, phones lighting up as fans recorded. Jason emerged from the shadows, no theatrics, just a borrowed pair of gloves, black shorts, and a plain gray tee. He stepped into the ring, his movements fluid, his stare fixed on Jaden, who was bouncing around, hyping the crowd like it was a title fight. The referee, a seasoned official, laid out the rules: 1 3-minute round, light contact, no knockouts. Jaden smirked, leaning in to whisper. Don't worry, VIP, I'll keep it cute. Jason's silence was deafening, his focus a wall. The bell rang. Jaden came out dancing, popping quick jabs at Jason's guard, more flair than force. He was performing, tossing soft shots and grinning for the cameras. Come on, action star, show me, he taunted, landing a light tap to Jason's shoulder. The crowd laughed, caught up in Jaden's show. But Jaden's cockiness was his Achilles heel. He dropped his guard, daring Jason to swing, thinking it was all a game. That's when Jason struck. His jab cracked out, fast and sharp, snapping Jaden's head back. The crowd gasped as a right cross followed, landing flush on Jaden's jaw. Jaden stumbled, his eyes wide with disbelief. This wasn't in the script. Jason pressed forward, a left to the ribs stealing Jaden's breath. The punches weren't full force. Jason was disciplined, but they carried a message. Jaden, stung, swung a wild hook, but Jason slipped it, his reflexes razor sharp, the crowd roaring now. The round was a blur of intensity. Jaden, pride wounded, threw harder, his left hook slicing the air. Jason ducked, the move so smooth it felt choreographed, but it was pure instinct. He countered with a 3-punch combo, jab, cross, hook, that drove Jaden to the ropes. The kid's legs buckled, his bravado evaporating. The ref hovered, but Jason stepped back, his point made. Respect the craft, he said, voice low, eyes boring into Jaden's. The bell clanged, ending the round, but the room was electric, the lesson louder than the cheers. The crowd was on its feet, the applause thunderous. Online, the moment was blowing up, fans dubbing it the VIP takedown. Jaden, breathing hard, avoided Jason's gaze as he left the ring, his crew unusually quiet. Backstage, Coach Harris grabbed him. Told you, Jaden. That man's real. Learn from this. Jaden slumped in his chair, replaying the moment he'd been schooled. His arrogance had blinded him, and the sting of it cut deep. For the first time, he questioned his path, the first seed of humility taking root. Jason, cool as ever, returned to his seat, shaking hands with veterans who now looked at him with awe. Marco tried to push for a sequel, but Jason shut it down. Kid's got potential, he said. He just needs to grow up. The gala raised a record sum for the Veterans Fund, but the talk was all about the sparring. It was a story Vegas would tell for years, a movie star proving he was more than a role, humbling a hotshot in 3 minutes flat. Months later, Jaden was back in Detroit, training in a gritty gym, his flash toned down. He'd ditched the bling, focusing on fundamentals, listening to Coach Harris. At a presser before his next fight, he was asked about that night. He paused, then gave a wry smile. Statham showed me what's up. You don't disrespect a man who's paid his dues. I'm chasing that belt, but I'm doing it with respect now. The USA crowd, suckers for a comeback story, roared their approval. Jason, back in his LA routine, caught the interview on a sports app. He smirked, just for a moment, then went back to his morning run. He didn't need the headlines, he'd already left his mark, one unforgettable lesson at a time.